Welcome back to another episode of LKD Talks with your boy Emmanuel LKD. And let's unplug and be real for a sec. Now, we're just going to jump straight into it. I have the first guest of this podcast. He's a very talented artist. He's a very awesome guy. He's his reels and his Instagram reels, like they pop up, like I listen to them. I'm like, okay, this might be stuck in my head for a little while. Well, please welcome Noah Andres. Yeah.
Hey. What's up, dude?
So, man, hey, can you give the audience a quick elevator pitch about who you are, what you do, and why do you do it?
Elevator pitch. My name is Noah Andres. I make pop music. Essentially, I treat my music as just a way to have conversations about feelings that I don't really know how to express in just a normal conversation. And the why is really just to express myself, and that in the hope that somebody hears my song and goes, hey, that's exactly how I feel. And so, yeah.
Nice. See, I think, wait, Noah, is this your first interview that you've actually had, or have you had?
No, I've had one more. It was way earlier this year though, before I got decent.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, because oh man, so I kind of want to talk about how we first met. I feel like I've known you earlier. I started to know you because we were in a group chat together.
Yes, sir.
And when you got added into it, I was like, "Who's this guy?" And then I checked him out. I'm like, "Oh, I know this guy. He used to be this guy."
Yeah,
he used to be this guy, which we'll get into later. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, dude, when I got added to that group chat, it was one of those things where I'm like, I still, to this day, have no idea why I got added in there. I'm so thankful I do. It is one of the highlights of my day going through there, but I still, to this day, have no clue why I was added to that chat. I was like, the person that added me, I was like, I didn't know them, like someone, like at all. So I was like, this is cool, I guess, but I love it though. Welcome. I'm not complaining.
Oh man, we have some good times in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Noah. So something that I kind of want to talk about too, which is a mystery. I've always wondered this. We're just gonna jump the gun straight into it, man.
Yes,
just jump the gun straight into it. So before, a lot of people don't know this, but before Noah Andres was Noah Andres, he went under the moniker of a different persona. He was a different vigilante, and that man's name was Rich Tyler. Now, I kind of want to talk about, because when you were Rich Tyler, man, I remember. Shout out to Rap Finds, Rap Finds,
yes.
Shout out to that man. Yes. He put me onto your music. I was like, who is this guy? Why does Rap Finds keep posting this guy? So I decided to check him out. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden he fell off. Yeah. But okay, so before, I feel like I'm kind of rushing the story, but okay, who is Rich Tyler, Noah?
So Rich Tyler was really like my first attempt at like doing music in any sort of serious capacity. Because like I've played instruments for like a long time and tried to sing for like a long time. And so like naturally, like playing instruments, you write songs, just kind of naturally. And so I had, before I did Rich Tyler stuff, I had like made some music, and I had like figured out how to like, put it up on Spotify, and, I don't even remember what to be honest, because it wasn't my name, but it was kind of just for fun, just like, oh, like I'm learning how to make music, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually like it kind of progressed into like, oh, like I'd like to actually give like music a go. And at the time, like, to looking back and to be completely honest, I think I was like really insecure and afraid of like singing and doing a lot of production work. Like all the stuff I do now, I was really insecure and scared about doing at the time. But one thing I knew I could do really well was like the auto-tune rap type stuff. Because I feel like one thing I'm still really good at now is like just freestyling melodies. Maybe not like now it's a lot more of like I'll freestyle the melody and then go back and like actually write good lyrics to it.
Right.
But then it was like it was a lot more of just freestyling everything, and I felt like I could come up with good melodies. And so it was in a sense a way of not having to confront any sort of like fear or like insecurity, and still like achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was give music an actual shot. And so that's what Rich Tyler really was. And like if you go and listen, because it's all the music's still up, like if you go and like listen to like the content of the music, like none of that is who I was or am as like a person. It was just what I knew. Like it honestly was just what I knew to say, or like who I was trying to emulate, or like what I was hearing as like, oh, this is how you can get success, or this is how you can whatever. And so that's definitely the more realistic take on it now. At the time, I probably would have been like, Rich Tyler, man, it's so great. Like it's just dope music, blah, 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 blah. I definitely look back on Rich Tyler as a lot more of a negative thing now. Like when I look back at Rich Tyler, I don't look at it and be like, wow, I'm really proud of like what I did and like building up, some fan base that I did have, and, all of that. Like I don't look back at it and be like, wow, I'm really proud. I look back at it and kind of almost regret it, because that was like years of time that I wasted that I could have been doing what I'm doing now, and like been a lot better at it. But the flip side of that is, if I didn't do Rich Tyler, would I be as good as what I'm doing now as I am? So I don't know. It's kind of a complex thing for sure, but.
Got it. Okay. Why do you think you felt so insecure during that time as Rich Tyler? Because like as an artist, I kind of have a say in like why you would feel insecure, because I would compare myself to other artists and try to impress them. Is that kind of something similar what you went through, or what did you go through for your insecurity during that time?
Yes. So definitely a lot of comparison was happening because I did Rich Tyler stuff, like I think for 3 years ish. People didn't really start knowing who I was until like a year or two in. But a lot of the insecurity came from like comparing myself to other people. But then like the core insecurity was just that I knew I had some like natural singing talent, but I was like really terrified to actually train and like be good at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it kind of came down to like, I was scared of messing up. Like I was scared if I like did what I actually really wanted to do, which was sing and like play guitar and write songs and do all this pop type stuff. I was scared that if I did it, I would mess it up and fail. And like doing Rich Tyler was so much easier. Like it really was. It was just so much easier to make it sound good.
So it's kind of like autotune was the crutch in a way.
Oh yeah, a bazillion %. And like, and the production style and that style of songs and that style of music, in my opinion, and I love that style. Don't get me wrong. Like Future is one of my favorite artists. I listen to him all the time. So I'm not saying I hate that type of music by any means, but for me, it was a lot easier to feel like I was making progress or feel like I was more finished than what I was, I think was where I was trying to get in. And I think Rich Tyler was a shortcut, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was the shortcut of like, how do I sound good? Or like, how do I make good music? Oh, let me do like something that for me was the easiest way to do it, which was slap a ton of autotune on and have everybody else make beats.
Man, I feel you with the autotune part, man. Just to kind of say something about myself as an artist. Sometimes I'll use autotune. Okay, earlier, when I made music, I would use autotune as the crutch to kind of sound good. Like, oh, I can sound like Travis Scott or Future. But then when you actually get into it using autotune, you're like, how come these notes aren't hitting right? It's because I'm flat, but it's because I realize I'm flat. I'm like, I'm not actually singing. I'm like, oh, there's an art that goes into this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even believe me, I wish there were so many artists that would understand that you can't just slap auto-tune on and it sounds good. Like that's not how it works. Like
Right.
even all of the big auto-tune artists, they still have to know how to use it. And
Like
I mean, I
Future,
use,
like
oh yeah, like Future, like I don't believe that man can sing at
no,
all.
no.
But he knows how to use autotune, essentially.
hmm Right.
And spoiler alert, I use autotune today, but it's just way less.
Yeah. Right. So, okay, so you said that you still use autotune in your voice.
Yeah.
And so so do you take lessons then? Do you take vocal lessons or is it just all self-taught?
Self-taught, I guess. So I just have always sang, just like walking around the house, singing the songs and stuff like that. And I'd always had felt like I was pretty decent at it. And I never really wanted to do lessons, mostly because like I don't know, maybe I'm too much of a rebel. Like it was the same thing with guitar. Like I took lessons for like a few months, but everything else, like I just Googled stuff and like how to do stuff. And kind of the same thing with vocals. And like singing stuff, like I have a pretty like I feel like I have a good natural like being able to sing in key. All of the stuff that I've had to work on is a lot of technique of like breathing and like taking
Mm,
care of the vocal cords and all that type of stuff. So but I did take a couple lessons over the summer. I think I did like three or four, or I did three, and every time like the teacher was like, "Hey, like you can hit all the notes you want to, and you know what notes you want to hit. You just keep holding yourself back. Like just go for it,
mm.
and you'll be fine." And I was like, "Oh, well then I'm not paying for these anymore.
Oh
Deuces."
dang. Dang, she gave
um,
you the cheat code.
yeah. So like, really, honestly, like, it's a lot of just natural stuff, and so like the auto tune is like just it's honestly for a lot of it's for sound,
Mm,
because like if anybody cares, like I have the $49 version of autotune, or like the cheapest one is, and you have three settings: low, mid, or high. I have it in the mid, and you can still hit wrong notes very clearly on that one.
mm.
So
Right.
it's a lot of it's just there for just like a tiny bit of a boost. Um, but yeah, so a lot of it's just self-taught and just like honestly just singing to songs and being like, oh, like that's the note I'm trying to hit. Um,
Got you. So then
so
with that, so just to kind of nerd out for all the audio engineers out there. So do you use Melodyne or any of those other
no,
plugins
I don't
to
use Melodyne.
restructure?
I don't use Melodyne. So the DAW I use is Reason, and Reason has its own built-in like Melodyne-ish version. I try to do as minimal amount of work in there as possible, just
Hmm
so it doesn't sound super artificial. And so like when my method or my thought process is I want the Melodyne to be as minimal as possible for the auto tune to catch it enough to boost it. So essentially, like if this is the note I'm trying to hit, and all the audio only people, I'm sorry, but like if this is the note I'm trying to hit, if I sang it here, I want to melodyne it to like here, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
the auto tune's gonna pick it to here. So it's like everything's just super small, super gradual. So that way, like you never like if you listen to my songs, like you never hear anything. Like you
Mm,
never hear like, oh, that's auto tune, or oh, that's. But I guarantee you, it's on there. So
yeah, like you don't hear any of the type of
exactly, yep,
vocals.
exactly, bro.
Like the awkward, like, oh yep, they use autotune right there.
Yep.
Just
The key, like if you to hear that type of stuff, is always when they do when vocalists kind of do this like drop. I don't know how to explain it, but if I would like I'm a little sick, so like my voice ain't gonna be that great. But if it was like a no 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 no, and then they go like a no, like they drop that,
oh,
you would hear that like no.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's just that little awkward, like
Yeah. So
nice.
yeah, but a lot of it's
So
for sound. A lot of it's for sound.
okay, that's good. Yeah, as long as it's not a crutch, like No,
Absolutely not.
that's good.
A lot of times, to be honest, like, so on most of like audio interfaces, you can switch it to where you hear the dry signal in your
Oh,
headphones when you record. So like you can hear it with no effects. And a lot of times, like if I feel like if I feel like I find myself like, oh, like this isn't as clean as I need it to be, or I'm having a little bit of a hard time knowing, where I'm at or whatever. Sometimes I'll just throw that on so that way I know I'm hitting the right notes just with my
oh,
voice.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. See, because like when I record, I don't hear myself at all. It's just straight up
Oh, really?
headphones, or it's just like, the headphones just like this. So I
Oh,
don't
okay.
hear. I mean, like, this is how I hear myself, but
Oh, okay.
like I don't have.
I can't ever do the like half for whatever reason. Like I know a lot of people love it. I can't do it. I love like when I record, I like to have all the reverb and delay. Like I love all the effects on.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
like I'm one of those people. And sometimes I've recorded some people before and I'll just naturally set up the session like that. And then they'll be like, hey, like, can you take some of like the delay or like the reverb down? Like it's just a lot. And I'm like,
Okay.
dang, dude.
I'm like, you're like, oh dang.
Yeah. I think it's because I like the live feel. Like it makes me feel like it's a live
Oh,
performance.
like live, you're like you're basking in the presence of your song.
That's a good, yeah, basket. Exactly.
I don't know if that's sacrilegious, but
I hope not.
hope
Lord
not.
forgive me. Lord forgive me.
Forgive us. So, so kind of going back with Rich Tyler
Mm,
transitioning into Noah Andres. I
yeah.
remember you something that you talked about was retiring. You
Hmm.
kind of like crept into retirement, but then you crept back into music.
Hmm.
So, could you explain that process? I remember I was there for it
Hmm.
because like I remember when you were added to the chat, you were Rich Tyler,
Yeah.
and then you retired, so you were just some other guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No offense, but like
Oh, yeah.
but and then you started to slowly creep up. You were sending demos like, "Hey, what do you guys think of this?" And then we're like, "Yo, I thought you retired. What are you doing?" But
Right.
like, so, but just I mean, jokes aside, explain that process about how you kind of came back into being who you are now to making
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. It was a long process. Like it wasn't like a month later and I was making music. Because I had stopped putting out, or not even stopped putting out, like stopped recording Rich Tyler music in I think October of 2020. And so geez, that's 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Um October of 2020 or maybe late September, I had stopped recording like any just Rich Tyler music. Um and a lot of that was just because um it was getting to a point where I was just like, man, this isn't me anymore. Like, and it's not even me anymore. It's just it never was me, and it kind of becomes a lot to keep up a persona that you don't
Mhm.
want. And then I think the thing that was the nail in the coffin for me was when I realized that I was becoming what I was personifying. Um,
Oh,
where they started to mix. So a
okay.
lot of that, a lot of the arrogance and braggadociousness of Rich Tyler um and the crappy part is like a lot of Rich Tyler's music is like supposed to be centered around like God and stuff. Like that was
Mhm.
where it originally had started, and it was not that at all by the end of it.
Mm.
And
Dang.
it was so, and I think that kind of crept into my personal life of like I was a Christian, or I am a Christian, but like I was a Christian, but I am not acting like one at all.
Mm.
Like I don't know if anybody at that point could have looked at me and been like, "Oh yeah, like that dude loves Jesus." Like at all. I don't believe that.
Mm.
And that's where that persona and like real life had just completely like merged. And I had one of my close friends had actually like straight up like confronted me. And I say confronted like intentionally,
Oh, dang.
like
Okay.
dude, like straight up was like, "Hey, like I think God is telling you like you got to cut this out. Like I think you need to stop
Mm.
making music." Um, and I'm not one of those people by any means that's like, "Oh, you have a word from the Lord." Like I'm immediately like, "Yes." Like I'm not that person at all. Like I'm a very much like,
Mm.
"Okay, well, let me like sit with this. Let me, test
Yeah.
it and all that type of stuff and do what you're supposed to be doing." Um, But when he said it, I knew it was right because I had been feeling that inside and had just been pushing it away for so long. And so when he told me that, I'm not even joking, I immediately sold my audio interface.
Wow.
Like immediately. And
Wow.
got rid of some other like sound equipment stuff, which I would have loved to have now, but I don't.
It was necessary.
Yes, it was very necessary. It was like cold turkey. Like it wasn't like, oh, let's start. I just kind of slowly stopped making it. It was like, boom, I didn't make another Rich Tyler song. And so I had stopped making it. I think I had put a project. I had just put a project out, or I was getting ready to put a project out. So I let the project go out. I didn't really promote it that much, or at all. And then I had put up a video on Instagram, which nobody can see it because the Rich Tyler Instagram is deleted. But I put up an Instagram video of like, hey, like I'm done making music. I feel like God is telling me that I need to stop. And so that was my plan. So I had, when I stopped making music, I had no intention of starting to make music ever again. Like, and I'm not even joking. Like, there was never a thing in the back of my mind that was like, oh, like maybe one day, like when I get my relationship with God and like my personal life figured out, like then I'll go back and make music. It was never that. It was like, yeah, like I have no intention. And so that was in October. And so then like months just went by of just life. And I think in like April of 2021, maybe May, I had like opened up my laptop again. And instead of reaching for like beats or whatever, I had like decided to reach for like a guitar and was kind of like, it was in this spot of, I had a ton of stuff going on in my life and like a lot of feelings that I didn't know what I felt. And because I wasn't doing any sort of like therapy or like counseling or any sort of that at the time. So like, I didn't know what I was feeling. I just knew I had feelings and they were really big. And so I picked up the guitar and like kind of started playing, just playing some chords, and then ended up writing a song, which the song that I wrote ended up being Deserve It. And so that was the first song that I had wrote since October of 2020. And that when I made that, it was the acoustic version was way different than what's out now. It was really slow. It was like in a lower key, really chill. And I remember when I made that, it was one of those like, wow, like I think this is what I've always like wanted to do. Like this is a song that I've always wanted to make, and I was just too scared to do it. And it took me to be at a place where I wasn't writing a song to put out. I was writing a song because I needed to write a song. And so when I wrote Deserve It, and I had no intention of like producing it up in any way. Like it was just going to be a song that sat on my voice memo app and in my notes, and it was going to live there. And then I think one day, like it was like a Saturday or something like that. It was just, I was bored or something. Like I think my wife was, out with friends or something like that. And I was home alone, just chilling. And so I decided to pull up my laptop, and I had just a cheap audio interface laying around, and plugged a mic in, and I had a like a pop EDM type beat that I had made like a year ago, or year before that. And I was like, oh wow, like this, and I had kind of like, oh wow, Deserve It kind of fits on this if I, change just change the tempo a little, and it works.
Speed it up.
Yeah, like it works. And I recorded it, and that was the first time I had recorded singing vocals and it not being like auto-tuning. And I just I remember recording that whole song and maybe in like 30 minutes. Wow. And listening back to it over my speakers and being so genuinely excited and happy for like the first time about a song in so long. Like I remember, like when I was making Rich Tyler songs and I finished one, it was that kind of like, oh, there's another one. Okay, I finally got another song done. Or like when I was in ruts of like struggling to get a song that was like, I put so much pressure on myself. Like, I need to have a song. I need to get a song. Like,
Oh
oh, I need a
yeah.
good song. I need a good
Yeah.
song. And when I made Deserve It and I recorded it and all of this, there was no pressure. I was doing it because I wanted to make a song, because I needed to make a song. And I recorded it and I listened to it on the speaker and I was like, I literally like stood like right back here. And I literally went, holy frick, I just made that. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, it was just, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. And I was so happy. And then that night I mixed it and mastered it. And I remember I played it on the kitchen speaker we have downstairs. And I remember I showed it to my wife and I was like, babe, like, I really love this. And so at that point I was going to put it out. And I wasn't really sure, like, it wasn't like, okay, like now I'm back to making music. Like it wasn't that. It was like, I want to put a song out because I don't want to hold on to this for myself any longer. I want to put it out into the world. And after I finished Deserve It, I made Can't Live Without You the same week. Yeah. I think I made it the next day, actually.
Oh dang,
like,
just back to back, like Drake.
I mean, I mean the whole beat and the vocals. I think I did that the next day, all of that the next day. And then I made another song that hasn't come out, which I actually do really like, but it's just never going to come out. But I had made those three, and originally those three were going to be like, oh, these are my songs. Like, these are the songs that I'm really proud of. I'm really happy, and I love them because like I needed to make them. There was no like, I need a good song. I need to make a good song. It was just, I needed to make songs because I needed to figure out what I was trying to say. And I said what I wanted to say. And then it kind of like bred into this, oh, like, I think I have a lot more that I want to say, not for other people, but for me. And you know, maybe that's selfish. I don't know. But like it was like, I have what I want to say to help me out and help me communicate and figure out what I'm feeling. And then it kind of just snowballed into like, I remember the next song that I made that I was like, holy frick, was Who Do You Love? Me and my friend.
Bro, that's one of my favorite songs, not gonna lie.
Yeah, me and
somebody.
Me and my friend Ciara wrote that song, and the song a little bit longer, back to back weeks. So we did one songwriting session 1 week and rewrote a little bit longer, and then we did another songwriting session literally a week after that and wrote Who Do You Love? So we did two of my favorite songs like back to back.
I love that. I love that.
So it was like that stretch of like a month. Like that was maybe a month or two of where I did Deserve It, Can't Live Without You, Who Do You Love, and a little bit longer. And I was like, wow, I really like these, and I'm really good at this, and I don't need to like, and I don't say that as like an arrogant thing, but as a like, it dispelled a lot of fear of like, wow, like I am actually good at this. Like I don't need to be scared of this anymore. So that's kind of how the retirement and unretirement thing happened. Like it was just changing as a person and all natural, and everything being natural and never being like, I want to make music again. Like I'm here to. It was never that.
Man, yo, thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Yo, that felt like a movie. You know, I was playing that in my head about how you were Rich Tyler, just feeling tired and depressed, and just kind of like, man, I don't like, you know, I quit music. You know, I envision it like all dreary. You're kind of just you know, hanging up the boxing gloves and just like, you know, going to work regular and then coming back as a champion. Bro, I love that. I love that. That's really inspiring. And I love how in that short span of time you were able to crank out so many songs and record so many songs. And it just shows that, you know, you do have this talent in you, man. Like you do have it. You know, like you said, not to be arrogant, but you know, you do have a talent for it.
I appreciate that. And it's like, I think the thing that helped me keep going too is like, even to this day, like when I hear my music or when I make music, I have this peace that I never had when I made Rich Tyler
Mm,
stuff, of like, I never have this underlying of like, oh, like this is taking over my life now. And like, all I am is this music thing, or like, oh, this persona is taking over my life. Or I don't have any of that, because like, one, like, I'm not hiding behind some fake name. Like, it's my name on there, which was
mhm,
intentional of like, I wanted my name to be on there because it's like, I can't hide behind
mhm.
anything. Um, me and my friend Ciara, we say this to each other all the time, but like, it's hard to be arrogant when you're super vulnerable. Um, and so that was
What's
kind of
that
our,
mean?
so with our songs, when we were writing our songs, um, we never wanted to be like, yeah, like look at this, we made a dope, like such a dope song, like the song's so good, like blah blah blah, because like we wanted to be so honest in our songs about ourselves that it would be kind of like,
Mm.
why would you, like if you're like super raw in a song, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, like listen and look at my song, because it's like your diary, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, okay. I like how you put that
Yeah, so it's like
as your
your
diary. Yeah.
so if my songs are like my diary, I'm never gonna be like, oh yeah, check this out, I'm the hottest thing around, like, you know, I'm up, because
Hmm.
it's like, it's scary. And I think, and that's not to say I don't promote my music, obviously I do, but it's this vulnerability that like, I think, at least for me, prevents me from getting arrogant about my songs, because it's like, most of my songs are like about the negative parts of me as a person. So why would I want to brag about the negative parts of me as a person?
Mm, yeah,
And
you
so like,
drinking a lot, you
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that, yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing there.
Nice. I like that. Something that made me think about was about how, being real at the end of the day, you know, benefits you more than, being a fake persona like Rich Tyler was, or just trying to impress people, like I love how you found that peace of mind, just making music for yourself and not
Yeah.
really having to focus on other people. Cause like, not gonna lie, when I started just making music or making videos in general, I did have a passion for it. I had a little bit of it, but it was kind of overshadowed where surrounded by all the peers in the space, uh
Mm.
like just or would you consider Rich Tyler CHH at first, or just like music in general? Because
I
like
think just music in general.
just music in general, okay, because
Yeah.
I would say in that space, in CHH, I mean, like I know like Rap Finds would promote all music,
Hmm.
including CHH. So I thought you were, a part of CHH at that time. So I
Yeah.
remember, like, even looking at your music as Rich Tyler, I would compare my music to yours. I was like, dang, man, if only I could be promoted as much as Rich Tyler on Rap Finds. But then ultimately, uh, as you said in your story, it left a hole. It left a
Mm.
hole. Like there's no peace in that. It wasn't until later about growing and maturity, same process that you went through, just kind of
Mm.
finding peace with yourself and just really appreciating uh, what you bring to the table instead of what other people
Mm.
bring. I was listening to a podcast this
Mm.
morning. It's called The Basement with Tim Ross. He talked
Okay.
about how instead of saying, I can't be them,
Mm.
think about how they can't be me.
Mm. That's real, man. Like it, and I think every artist has to go through that process, or creative in general. I personally believe that, because every creative, whether it's music, it's art, it's movies, it's photography, like any form of art, when we all start out, like we all try to be our heroes, right? Our
Mhm,
influences, our inspiration. We all try to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, because, and I'll speak on music only because that's what I know, but like there's nothing wrong with trying to write a song like your favorite artist when you're starting out. There's nothing wrong with that, because you have to know how to make a song. you don't know how to do that yet. You have to know how to structure a song. You have to know, dynamics and like, and then when like whether some people don't get into production and some people do, but if you're doing production stuff, like you probably try to produce a song that's like your favorite producer or like your favorite artist or how their songs. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have to do that to learn the process. But eventually, every creative is going to go through a process to stray away from that and to stray away from emulating their favorite artists. And some handle it better than others. I was a person that didn't handle it that very well when I tried to stray, right? And that's what a lot of the issues I ran into, that's where that came from. But everybody has to go through that. Like, oh, like, you hear it all the time. Like, oh, you sound like insert person. And then in the back of your head, you're like, oh, well, that's who I was trying to. So yikes, or thank you, or, whatever your response is. But then every creative gets to a point where by nature, they start putting more of themselves into it. I think I don't know if a true creative person can withhold their true self from their art for a long time. Otherwise, you're going to end up like what I was and just not at peace and not happy about what you were creating. And eventually, like I am, like now I am, so I got there eventually. So it's the comparison thing, I think, is helpful to a point, and then eventually you have to shed it. Because I want somebody to compare my song to a top pop song and think they match up. Like I want that to happen, and I do that too. Like I want to make sure I compare my songs to like, the biggest pop songs out there and be like, hey, does my songwriting like match up with that? But the trick is like, and you have to do it by failing, is
right,
not letting it overtake you. Like if like, hey, like sure, maybe my song isn't as as a good song, as good written song as like a, I don't know, a Taylor Swift song or like a John Bellion song or a, insert your favorite artist. I don't care. But I know someday it's going to be, and then that's where the comparison thing doesn't like take me down. It's like, okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to be. Right. I'm going to be, and I had to learn how to do that by failing at it a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just a long process, man. Just a long process.
It's a long process. Do you have any quick advice for any artists? I mean, I guess you kind of went over it already, but
I actually
for artists, for artists who feel like it's taking forever, or just anything in general like that.
I think two things. One is, don't be afraid to fail. Like, don't be afraid to mess up, because you're going to. Like your favorite artists fail all the time. Like they make bad songs. Like I promise you they do. So fail. Like don't be scared to fail. And then and then the other thing is like, if you're making a bad idea, like if you're making a bad song, like don't be scared of it, and don't be like, dang, like I just only make bad songs. Like it's so easy to do that. Finish a bad idea. Because if you finish the bad idea, it's out of you, and then to never do that again. Like I
love that.
Like I'm not,
I like that.
Because like there's a ton of like, I say formula, not in a sense of like songwriting formula type thing, but just like a pattern or like melody combination, all that type of stuff. Like there's a ton of stuff that I've tried that just doesn't work, or like it's not as interesting as I wanted it to be. And I had to finish those songs and be like, wow, like this song just really doesn't work. Or like, yeah, like the song works, but like it's not great. Like it's cool, but it's not great. And I had to do that a ton of times to eventually get one song that is like, wow, this song is incredible. Yeah. But like in the middle of that is a lot of feeling. So I'd say like, don't be scared to fail and finish your bad ideas, and you'll go a long way.
That's good advice. I needed to hear that too. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It's kind of like how, I'm not sure how often you take photos, but
Mm,
Some days I'll go to the photo studio, film studio, take some photos, and be like, "Dang, how come these suck? Like, why do these photos
yep.
suck so much?" Then
Yep.
it really just comes down to tinkering and messing around with it,
Yeah.
and that's how you just get killer photos. You're like, "Ooh." Like there's
Yes.
a point where like we almost quit taking photos because we're like, "Dang, these suck. Like these look so awful." But then we're like,
Yeah.
"Nah, you know what? Let's just keep going another round, see what we can do."
I think one thing too that's at least for me that I found difficult is like now that I like when I'm already good at one thing of art, sometimes it makes it a little difficult to try to get good at something else artistic because
Mm.
it's like you kind of forget like all of the early stages of just completely sucking, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because
uh,
you're kind of in your head like I'm the beast at this. I'm a pro at
yeah,
this.
like you're so used to being good that you kind of forget. Like it was the same thing for me. Like when I started learning how to take pictures and stuff and how to edit them, dude, my lord, I was so bad at it. I was like try and like unless it was just a straight angle, right? Just like I was like I
Mm.
could do that because a lot of if you have a decent camera, a lot of people could do that.
Yeah.
But it was like trying to get different angles or like going into different settings and all that, like going to different locations. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Everything I'm trying just turns out horrible. But then, yeah, you just eventually figure it out and you're like, okay, hey, this didn't work last time, but maybe this will. And then it does. And you're like, okay, cool, let's do that.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing with like art too, is like it's switching to different fields of art is pretty humbling, but at the same time,
Oh yeah.
it's really humbling. And then
Oh
it kind of
yeah.
reminds you to like approach it with fun, have fun with it. And then you'll get good at it eventually.
Oh yeah, man. It's picking up photography. The little bit that I have has like reminded me a lot of times of like, oh yeah, like this is just fun. Which I don't fall into that too much for music of like this is my business and like this is you know I have to do all this. Like there are a lot of times where like with music it's still fun, but having that extra thing is like, oh yeah, this is just for fun. It's all good.
Yeah, just having it like another hobby on the side, just to be like, I'm not a pro at this, but I
Exactly.
enjoy it. It's like volleyball.
Exactly.
I'm not a pro
Exactly.
at it, but I still enjoy it. Yeah.
Are you a volleyball player?
No, no, I'm not a volleyball player. No, I only play
Oh,
when
okay. I was like, whoa.
there's other people. I mean, like I play volleyball
Oh.
like twice a year. So I'm not an avid volleyball player like
Oh,
that.
okay.
It's just at like
Okay.
family gatherings and
Okay.
just something fun to do at the park.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So kind of jumping onto a different bus. Uh
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about uh your sign, your sign now. Oh, news
Oh,
flash.
I'm not
No,
independent. Oh my gosh, she's a sellout.
Noah whack dress. Sold the soul to the devil.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, Illuminati, Noah Andres. Do you know that the three circles in Noah Andres's name are signatures for I don't know, some
Exactly, bro.
conspiracy theorists can see
Yeah, it's just
what
like, hey,
that
let me
means.
know. Yeah, some conspiracy theorists, let me know what Illuminati gang, end of the world conspiracy I'm a
Gang
part of
affiliation.
with my name. Yeah, just let me know. So that hey, then maybe I'll collect some benefits or something from it. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, and then build a whole pyramid scheme out of it, like Andrew
Yeah.
Tate.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Chill, bro. Yeah, I'm signed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. So, what does that all entail? Because I remember off camera you're talking about how you're songwriting for other artists.
Mhm,
Right? Is that right? Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah, what does that all entail?
Yeah, so it's a publishing deal. So it's not like a record deal or anything like that. So they don't own any of my stuff. Um which is great, which is because that's exactly what I wanted. Um
Nice.
a publishing deal was the only type of deal I was willing to sign. Um but they had approached me, they had reached out to me on Instagram, and normally I don't answer that type of stuff. But I had like they like looked legit and I was looking them up and doing some research. I was like, oh wow, looks sweet.
Oh,
So I just responded and checked it out. And then after a lot of conversations. They ended up offering me a deal. And essentially, like, it's just they have a big network of like songwriters, and it was essentially me getting me plugged into that network of songwriters. And so a lot of it's just like trying to, is getting set up with writing sessions with other artists and writing songs together with the artists that are in their network and the artists that are signed to them as for like a record deal, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I've had a couple sessions. I signed, I think, in the middle of the summer, and then I had lost my day job like right after, and
Oh
so
shoot.
life was so hectic that like I just never had. And then getting a new job, like I just didn't have time to like take meetings. Um, so we're just now starting to be able to get into a flow of setting stuff up again and getting in sessions. But I've had a couple sessions writing some songs, and then on the side they're wanting to have me do some production work as well,
Oh dang.
outside of the contract. So that's just like a, you know them approaching me as like a producer. Um, so yeah, it's really cool. Like like it's one of those. When I signed, it was one of those things that like if if I don't do anything with them, like I'm not losing much, you know.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
the split that I have is I'm totally okay with. So it's like even if I wrote like one song a year with them, like if that was all that it was, like I'm not giving up enough to be like, hey, like you need to, I wouldn't be pissed. But
Mm.
the super upside is I get to expose myself to a lot of other writers and how they write and their process and their um like natural stuff that comes out, because every songwriter
Mhm.
has just natural melodies that are just natural to them,
Mhm.
and word concepts and rhyming and stuff that's just natural to them, and everybody's different. um and so like every time I've written with like Ciara, her natural melodies and words she chooses are complete opposite of what's natural for me.
Mm.
But like when we bring those together, I mean, we literally, I think every time we've met to write a song, we wrote great songs. So it's wanting to have that opportunity more often is essentially why I signed. Um, so and I haven't really been that disappointed. So it's been a lot of fun. So
Oh
and
man,
it's pretty
that's
cool to
dope.
say. It's pretty cool to say, hey,
It's
yeah,
pretty cool to
someone
say you're
approached
signed.
me.
Hey,
Yeah,
like I'm
I'm not
not
gonna
just I'm
lie.
signed,
I know I know I just talked about arrogance and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
dope, man.
it is
That's
cool.
dope. That's dope. It's almost like a professional way to collaborate.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool because it's like and they work, like they do stuff for me too. Like they don't just take my songs, or like take what, like, they handle a lot of the royalty collecting, or pretty much all the royalty collecting that like my distributor doesn't, for me, which is obviously fantastic because I hate dealing with that. Um,
Hmm.
and like they they do business trips all the time. Like I've had few phone calls where they were like, hey, yeah, like, we were visiting, with potential clients or like other music people in Nashville, and we showed them your music, and they, we have a lot of artists that would really love to write with you. Like, so they have a lot of networking stuff as well. And if anybody wants to look them up, they're Adarga Music Group is what they are. Um, but they were at the this helps, they were at the Grammys this year.
Oh wow.
Um, so they're not just a Joe Schmo.
Oh
Couple
wow.
people that hit me up and was did some stuff. So they've done some work for like with like elevation music and stuff like that. So
Oh snap. Who knows, man? Maybe next year at the Grammys you might have a seat with them.
I will not go. No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah, the Grammys are not valid anyway.
Nah, when they did my boy The Weekend dirty like that, that was it for me. I was already on the
Yeah.
cusp of like, I don't know how much I like this, and then they were like, "Hey, you perform at the Super Bowl, you can't get nominated for album of the year with one of the best albums of all time." So
Bro, that album was so good. After Hours was so
That was the
good.
one, bro. That was the one that he would have been nominated for. And they told him if you do the Super Bowl performance, which the Super Bowl performance wasn't that great, so maybe he should have done it. But
Hey, I thought
it,
it was pretty great, not gonna
I
lie.
th- it's good if you're a Weekend fan. If you're not, you would have hated it.
Okay.
But uh, yeah, that album would have won album of the year if it got nominated.
Man, that's such a good album. I remember when that album came out, I was just listening to it every morning, my morning
Yep.
routine, every night, my night routine.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I can move on again.
So good, dude.
So good.
Uh,
Oh man.
but
Yeah,
yeah, so
man.
that's all the
So
sign stuff.
yeah, so what is just one more thing, just kind of wrap this up. What is something that's been on your mind lately? Because something that I like to do with these LKD Talks episodes is, just share my
Mm,
weekly experience and put it out there like a journal entry. So, what is something that's been on
mm,
your mind this past week
mm.
that you kind of want to talk about?
Yeah. There's been a couple things, honestly. Like, so on like the music side, it's I'm getting a lot. I've been getting that fire recently to just grind again. Like if anybody looks back, like you could see you just based off social media engagement for me, or like not engagement in terms of numbers, but how active I am. Um, like earlier in the year, I was really like there was a big spike, and then during the summer there was like a big spike when I was putting out like my EP and stuff. And then when I got the new job, my new day job, it was all of my routines were like out of whack that I had for years. So it was just trying to reestablish life again. And I'm at a point now where I've hit a routine and like know where my energy levels are going to be pretty much on a weekly basis now, and my schedule and all that type of stuff. And so it's that's allowed me to start being able to make music a lot more frequently and make content and stuff. So I'm really getting that itch and that fire to just grind and go.
Hmm.
Um, and it's been like yielding a lot of great stuff of um, being really consistent in content and being consistent in the music I'm making and trying new things, and like the songs I'm making right now, I'm like extremely proud of. Um, so yeah, it's like this week was a really like an exclamation point on that. I feel like
Mm.
I did a lot of all of that stuff that I've been dying to do, and just did it, and still had energy left, and felt like I still had time left, and um, it's been like really good. Um,
That's good.
so
That's good.
I feel like I'm coming into like that really good mindset, and just excitement is like the biggest thing.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
which I love making music when I'm excited, because it's
Yeah.
usually when I make my best stuff.
Right. You just
Um,
can't stop.
yeah, it's like, and that's kind of where I'm at. And I've gone through a lot of like fighting the overthinking this year, and like overthinking music and songs, and like, is this good or is this blah blah blah? And part of that is having like my brother-in-law, he's starting getting into music and all that stuff, and he's like in school and taking classes for music stuff. So having him around has helped me a lot of like getting out of my own head, of where
Mm.
like he's been in the room when I've worked on stuff and be like, see me get into it, like, oh, maybe he's like, dude, that sounds like, no, that's fine. Like,
Okay.
that sounds good. So that's really helped
Yeah.
combat a lot of that. Um, so that's been really awesome. And like, um, I'm starting to get to a place where I'm I'm wanting to and excited to start like collaborating with more artists in the next
Mm.
year. Um, I
Hmm.
was really intentional on not doing that this year. Like I was
Okay.
a conscious decision of like, yeah, I don't want to do songs with people. Not in a like, oh, I hate everybody and I just don't want to
Okay.
make music. It
Yeah.
was more of just like just wanted to finish all of my songs by myself. I did a couple obviously with some people, but for the most part I was just like, oh, like I just want to do everything. And now this next year I'm kind of like, I really would like to do more songs with more people, even just to
Hmm.
like get to know more artists.
Right.
Um and so yeah, it's just like I feel like this week has just been like a big exclamation point of just all the excitement that I've been having and like looking forward to. And um yeah, like creatively, I feel like I'm in a really good spot. Um and it's been fun, man. Like I think
That's
that's
dope,
the
man.
biggest thing. It's
That's
been
dope.
fun. It's like that
It's been fun. Like,
lightness, yeah, and that peace. And um it's been awesome, man. It's yeah, it's been really good. Um and then the other thing too is like I had a conversation this week with the guy that runs Rap Finds. Actually, he tries to
yeah.
call me like once a week.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's a dope dude. Super
He
good
is
dude.
dope. Yeah, I knew him when like back in like I want to say like 2014 probably.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've known him when he did edits for like basketball players.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. But on our phone conversations, we always end up circling back to like um this this phrase, be a human.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
because and it's really like I'm so prepared. I'm so glad you gave me an opportunity to talk about stuff. I've been wanting to talk about this so bad. But
Do it,
like I
bro. It's
see it all
yours.
the okay. So there's so many times, and I know you run into it, where on the internet, other artists forget to be a human being when they're interacting with other people on the internet. And I'm not talking about being like slanderous or being mean. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Mhm.
like when, especially in music, when artists do the whole like, oh, uh, oh, LKD, he's got a lot of followers. Let me follow him real quick and oh, let me start commenting on his stuff, see if he notices. Oh, let me shoot him let me reply to a story. Like maybe he'll start a conversation with me.
Mm.
Oh, he got a conversation with me. Oh, like let's talk for a little while. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Let's chat for a bit. Hey, I have this song that I was hoping
Oh
you would
man,
get
that
on.
stuff's so annoying, bro. Oh, that gets me heated.
You know what I'm talking
I
about,
could
don't you?
tell when someone swipes up and they say hey, and then like the next day they like plug their
Or
song.
they
I'm
drop
like,
the
oh,
fire emoji. They drop the
oh
fire emoji. Yep.
yeah. Oh man.
Or you get the DM, dude. Every time I get a DM and it's from an artist, because I'll go and check the page before I like accept the request every time. I go check the
Mhm.
page and it's like an artist, and then the DM they send me is, "Hey man, I really love your music." I'm like, I know where this is going.
I know where this is going.
And I'm sorry to everybody that's not like that. You know, if you're not like that, then I don't mean you. But most of the time, it is like, "Hey, like I love your music, man," and then you do the whole, "Hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for listening."
Yep.
Yeah, if you're ever open to collab, like I'd love to collab. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. It's like
and those are those situations where like me and rap friends will talk about like be a human being. Like that's where people forget that like even on the internet, like these are real people. Like I'm not a product. I make products, but I'm not
mm-hmm.
a product. Like I'm not just some big corporation that you can just come and like ask for whatever you want. And so it, it's frustrating when people try to use relationship just to serve their own
Mm.
like desire. Like when they're just like, "Hey, like I want to be friends with you so I can get a song from you." Like, "Hey, I want to be friends with you so you can
Man, that's
share me on your
so
story." Or I
corny,
just
bro. It's so
it's
corny.
so dumb, but you see it all the time, dude.
Oh my
It's so
god.
annoying. It's
Like,
so
not gonna
annoying.
lie, I used to be like that. Not gonna lie.
I did too. I did
Like
too.
I used to follow people, like follow these artists, and then they'd follow me back. And then, I'd keep like it wasn't even that deep
Distance.
of a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even that deep of a relationship with them. Like I thought, oh, they're cool with me, so I'll be cool with them. And then when I
Yep.
see that they unfollow me, I unfollow them. It's just
Yep.
like, oh my gosh. I look back at that, I'm like, ew.
Yeah, man. It's so annoying, and it's one of those things of like, hey man, like guy, artist, just remember, be a human being. Like you're a human being first before you're an artist.
Mm,
Before you're somebody that makes music, like you're a human being. Like you would never, and it even goes to like promoting your songs. Like I would never walk up to you and be like, "Hey Emmanuel, did you hear my new song?" I would never do that.
yeah.
I would never be like, Emmanuel, or I don't even know you. Like if I didn't even know you, like if we just met, like we were at some like gathering together and we didn't know each other, I would just walk up, "Hey, I'm Noah. Do you want to listen to my music?" I would never do that. So like I hate it when artists do that too, and they're just like, hey, I'm such and such. Here's my music. I hope you
Yeah,
like it. We should collaborate sometime. Boom, 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 boom. It's like, dude, be a human being,
dude,
man. Just
bro. Like speaking of that, do you ever not want to tell people that you're an artist and just have them
oh, all the
find out
time.
about it themselves?
All the time. Yeah. In real life, I don't talk about my music with people that much. Like if
Yeah,
people ask me like what I've been up to, like I'll tell them like, yeah, like, I've been working and like doing, working on some songs and stuff. Um, and they're like, oh, cool, yeah. But like all of my friends, like they don't like me because of my music, you know,
mm, hmm,
which helps, that obviously
yeah,
helps, like them
yeah.
not
That's
being like,
good. Yeah,
so like it's just one of those things. Like music is obviously a big part of my life, but it's not the basis of my relationships, and it's not like the most important thing in my life going on. Like
right.
music is
Like it's
awesome.
not
Like
you.
yeah, like yeah, it's not me. Like it's a part of me for sure, but it's
Hmm.
not me. Like if when my friends hang out, like we talk about our lives and we talk about what's going on in our lives, like outside of my jobs or my hobby,
Hmm.
like because there's more to life than that,
Yeah,
which sometimes people forget.
yeah.
Um, so
Because
yeah, man,
that'd be
it's
kind of
just
boring if your life is just that.
do well. Okay, you got me on one last thing. I promise, so that I'm not
Okay.
gonna rant anymore. But the biggest thing is like that I've learned this year for me as an artist, and I think it applies to a lot of people. Um, is like you got to take breaks. Like breaks are. I put this tweet out the other day.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it. Breaks are
I saw
productive.
it.
Breaks are productive. I think a lot of times artists get into this like I have to make songs, I have to make songs, I have to make a song, I have to have all this, I have to have X number of songs every
Brian said
week or every
mindset.
month or yep. I'm just gonna grind. I'm gonna rise and grind. I'm just gonna do
Rise and
that all
grind.
this
Gary V.
time. Yeah, but breaks are productive, man. Like taking time away from like your art and not creating is so beneficial. And
Mhm.
the way what I've found in my life and my art is like every time I take a break from making music, which when I take breaks from making music, it's usually like 2 weeks to a month of like
Oh
not
wow,
making stuff. So like it's not like,
that's a
oh
long
yeah,
break.
just I yeah, it's not like just, oh yeah, I made like didn't make music for a week, so now I'm all refreshed and ready to go. Like, no, that's not enough time to like reset and like chill. But the other the thing that comes along with that is like if you're only in the studio or like only in your room making songs, what life are you living to inspire your songs?
Right.
Like straight
Right.
up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because eventually your songs are just gonna be the same thing. Or you're just gonna make up stuff. Like one of the two. You're just gonna be the same experiences that you're writing about. Or you're just gonna have to start making up experiences because you don't have a life to go like pull from.
Right. Yeah.
So
See,
for
and
me, like writing songs, like living life is way more important than being in here and writing music. Because then that's I gotta have life to pull from.
right. Exactly. Like it's like a balance in a way, or no, not in a way. It is a
It is
balance.
a way, yeah.
It is a balance,
Dude,
and
balance might
sometimes,
be the worst. Balance might be the worst B word out there. It's the it's the most annoying B word because it's the hardest thing to achieve.
yeah. And see, just going back with what you said about experiences, don't go out and force bad
Yeah.
experiences just to create a heartbreak song. Like, no, don't do that to
No.
yourself.
Be yourself, man. Like if you listen to my songs, the way my lyrics are written and like the way I sing, like how I write is how I talk. Like like I don't the reason I don't have all these like stories and like metaphors with my songs and like like oh like your eyes are like the sunset at night with how they glow and make me like it's not because I don't talk like that. I don't talk in
Yeah.
stories. I talk like if you listen to my lyrics like it's just conversational
Mm,
'cause that's how I talk, and
mhm,
and that's how, like, my experiences influence my art because it's like, "Oh, this is me, this is how I talk, this is how I live," like,
mm,
I don't need to make anything up, I just gotta communicate it.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing that, man.
those are my rants, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks for sharing that. Oh,
Yeah, man.
man. Yeah, man. This was a good conversation. This was a really good
Dude, this is
conversation,
fun.
man.
This is fun, man. Hey, you're the only person that will ever have the Rich Tyler story because I've always told myself, I texted you this. I've always told myself, if I have an interview and somebody asks me about Rich Tyler, that will be the one and only time that I talk about it, because I'm not that person anymore. So like, I don't want that to
Yeah.
be the conversation.
Hmm.
But I was like, I want to tell the story one time. That's it. So nobody else gets it. Anybody else introduce me?
Yeah. Yeah. So next
If you
time,
ask me about it, if somebody else asks me about it, I'm shutting it down.
just like, who? Just like
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, who?
Who?
Yeah.
Drake.
Drake. Drake. Just like, oh shoot, just like get up from your seat and be like, Rich
Yeah.
Tyler. Rich Tyler.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do, bro. Or I'll just pull up like a QR code of my newest song and just be like, does that say Rich Tyler? No.
Does it Rich Tyler?
Then shut up about it. No.
Oh man, that's funny. All right. Hey Noah, thanks for hopping on this episode of LKD Talks. Do you have anywhere where the people can find you at?
Yeah, just Noah Andres on all platforms. That's NOAHANDRES on wherever you find music, except I don't know, like the illegal websites. I'm assuming they probably don't have my music, but everywhere else does.
Dat
So,
Piff,
just go
Noise
check it out.
Trade, Zippy Share.
See, I don't. Whoa, bro, you've been on there a little too much, bro.
Hey, yo, that's in the past. It's okay.
But yeah,
okay.
no
I don't do
Andres
that
on all
anymore. I'm a
platforms.
changed man.
No Andres on all platforms. That's it.
Yeah, yo, check out his music. Yo, like before this interview, I was actually bumping his stuff. I was like, man, just like going through his discography, and then Who Do You Love came on. Who Do You Love came on. I came on. Whoa, pause.
what was your favorite song? I was actually kind of curious about that.
Oh, favorite song? Oh, let's see. I'm gonna just search it up real quick.
You're just like, I lied. I didn't listen to any of your music.
No, I did. I think Who Do You
totally-
Love, but I feel like there's another one that I really like more than Who Do You Love. Because like, who do you love? Is it me?
Dude,
Is it somebody?
I wrote that chorus a Saturday morning at like 9 a.m. sitting on my couch watching football.
Oh, it's always the environments that you don't expect, or the ones that you just least expect that just pop up. You think of a melody in like 5 minutes. You're like, oh, that's kind of fire.
What's funny is we had been struggling to write the hook all week. Me and Ciara couldn't figure it out. And that Saturday, I actually told myself, I'm not going to work on this song. I've worked on it every day. I am not going to work on the song. I'm going to relax. I'm going to enjoy life. And I was like, I'll try one more time. And then I came up with that. So
it's always like that, bro. It's always like that.
Yep.
I think Who Do You Love just might be my favorite one, because that's the one that's
Love that song.
just cemented into my brain.
That's the song that I put out that I felt like I was a real artist. That was the one where I was like, oh, this is special.
It really is special. I think the second one would be What I Hated from your EP.
I love
out
that
now,
song.
by the way, as a single.
I love that song.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm gonna play that for the outro. I'm gonna play Who Do You Love for the intro, and then What I Hated for the outro. Just a special episode, I got you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Got
Dude,
you,
this
man.
was a lot of fun, man. This really was a lot of fun.
Hey, thank you, man. I'm glad you had fun, and thank you for hopping on again. So yeah, thank you, man. So thank you guys so much for watching the LKD Talks special with Noah Andres. Be sure to check out his music. Follow him on Instagram at Noah Andres Music. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay. If not, I'll put it in the description. I'll put it in the description for you. So yeah, without further ado, guys, thank you for watching, and hope y'all be blessed and take care. Peace out, y'all.